I was wondering why the neck seemed to be so far back, and it's because of this. Two shims. Actually, one bent in two. Making up how much? .81 millimeters. 0.82, 0.85 at the joint. And yeah, 0.84 at that end. It scrunches in the middle. Oh no, 0.85. Is that calibrated? Hold on. 87. 87. Wow, that is big. I have not used a shim that big on anything before. Wow. I guess I'm really going to have to check on that when I put the neck back on. I'm going to do a trial check though with the roller bridge. So the reason for the shim that big was because the neck pocket is way too deep and you can barely get that down to about 8/64 action. Yep, that's why they did it. That's why they did it. Turns out the neck pocket is not exactly flat in there. It's a bit poorly done. This side's okay. Well, no, it's not. There's a rocky part right in the middle of it. Damn. That's why the big shim there tried to flatten it out. But I think it was too big. I think it was too big. Maybe just one. Let's see. Okay. One. Doesn't cause it to rock. I'm having some success with shims under the neck, but not just right because, well, the high E string broke again, but I'm getting buzzing. Which is another issue I'll have to look at. Could be another fall away on the neck board. I'm trying to get the bump out of the middle of the pocket. Looks like the wooden shim is the best idea. So I'm going to glue that in there when I get to putting the neck and body back together. I'm going to glue it right there in the base, right there. Okay, this goes to the other bench. I did some work over at bench number 2 to shine up the body. Got a lot of the swirls out, like that. So it's pretty good. You can see some of the it's supposed to be translucent black, and you can just barely see some of the wood grain here. It's not that translucent actually. Still some dust here, but yeah, it turned out pretty good with the compounding, and then I put a little wax on the top of it. So that's ready. I disassembled all of the electronics, left the pickups in. I'm going to rewire this with 2 volumes push-pulls, and I'm going to glue that shim in here, and I've got the hump down a little bit, which will help make the neck sit a little bit better in this pocket without it being too high. So yeah, it's coming along. So far, so good. The next step is going to be the neck. It's straightened out, and I just have to tape it up and check up the leveling. Oh yeah, and of course compound the headstock on this. There are swirls and scratches and things on this as well. I'm hoping that I can get out and make this a reasonably good looking and functioning guitar. Stand by. Alright, we have the electronics cavity done. 2 push-pulls, and I put a gold tip on the switch. I fixed the switch. The switch itself was switching good, but the pin in there is always half the size it needs to be. So I created a new pin for the pivot point out of a finishing nail, which I've done before, and it works well. And that saves these switches, because sometimes that's the really the worst point of the switches, is that pin that they put in there, just making it too wonky. It's just wobbly all over the place. Those are technical terms. So what I did with this was I went with the standard 2 volume circuit with resistors. It's a 1K on both of them, so keeps the second coil up. It's got the bleed circuits, and I think it's going to sound okay. And the next step is to tape up this. It's been sitting here for a couple of days, straightened out. We're going to check it again just to be sure, and tape it up and get to work on that. There's a lot of uneven frets up at this end of the neck, I think, which was problematic, especially when it was sitting back too far. Oh yeah, and I glued this shim in up here, and I put a piece of just paper over it with a clamp to hold it in place, and then I peeled the paper off, and then that's going to help it to sit. And with the sanding of this bump that was in the middle down here, I think that's going to make that sit a whole lot better in the pocket. And once I get this down here, I believe I'm going to be able to make that play nice up the neck, and not have all these high frets up here that were buzzing out on me. So the angle back plus all the higher frets up here, I think are problematic, and we'll see how it goes.